What do you guys want me to bring you back from the beach?
Shells.
Shells? I'll bring the biggest shells I can find, Cassie, okay?
We are rolling. Sit up for me if you would, who you are.
Hi, I'm Barry Plath. I'm head of the Plath family.
Give me a hug.
Oh, bye. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up and what it was like for you.
Yeah, so I grew up on a farm in Minnesota. It was a dairy farm, so my mom, my dad, me, and my brother did a lot of hard work, long hours, but we had an appreciation for life in the country. Back in the 70s and 80s, there were a lot more family farms. By the mid-80s, you know, I was in college, and my dad sold the whole herd. You know, there's stuff in you that's kind of just like woven into the fabric of who you are, so I guess it's not a stretch to see we're back in a rural setting, raising a family. But I did go and went off to college. Initially, I kind of stayed away from the party scene. I saw the negative effects of alcohol growing up in my family, but eventually ended up partying a lot, especially in grad school when I moved from Minnesota down to Florida. You know, you gotta balance all the intense studies with intense partying. You know, it was just empty. Leaving the party life was kind of synonymous with becoming a Christian. I came to that point of realizing my way wasn't right. God's way was right. So all it was is a jumping of the tracks from my way to God's way.
So now you can connect through this mutual faith.
Yeah. Kim and I met at a church in Tallahassee. So we were both Christians, and we had that common foundation. And she dated a friend of mine. And I'm like, well, that's great. You know, I was happy for him. And then they broke up. I don't have any interest in dating Kim, even because, you know, I just want to go there. I just didn't have, she was always just a friend.
It's a bro thing, right?
You know, it was like that. Maybe a year goes by. She moved to Virginia to go be a nanny. And she was up there for a number of months. And while she was up there, you know, maybe a few times we corresponded. And I'm down in Tallahassee, my family's up in Minnesota, and it was my birthday. I was feeling kind of lonely. And then the package arrived. And it was from Kim. It was wrapped. She sent me a book. So it's like I got this little thing on my birthday from Kim. That was the trigger that got me thinking about Kim. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, Kim. And so very quickly, my thinking just like changed. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pursue this.
The phone rang, and his exact words were, "Hi, Kim, this is Barry. I'm calling to talk to you about our future and my intentions." Which, that's marriage talk.
That's marriage talk.
Yeah.
We were married 3 months later. The rest is history. I mean, I was 29. I mean, it was like, hey, time's a wasting. 23 years plus that we've been married.
Yeah!
We come here in November a lot, and the place is empty. And so it's like you got the place to yourself.
You were actively involved in most of the births.
No.
Tell me a little bit about that. You had, you know, all along you had...
Yeah. Okay, so the birthing adventures, and they were adventures. Kim, she likes to do things naturally. No drugs for her. Don't sedate her, don't lay her on a table. I want to be at home, and I want to do this myself with a midwife. I'm like, hey, honey, I'm with you. I'm here to support you. What do you need me to do? Then came the first birth, and I found out what I needed to do. There's my wife. She's going through an 8-hour workout, and her muscles in her back are like tensing up beyond belief. So I'm there giving counter pressure because that's giving her some relief, right? So I'm just there going, when's this gonna be over? I can't do this. Those were the wrong words for me to speak because I let it fly because she was like, push harder. And this is like in the 7th hour. And I'm like, honey, I can't do this anymore. And she said, don't you say that, push. Ethan wasn't coming, right? They had to whisk her off to the hospital. And then we had our one and only hospital delivery. But then from Ethan, it got easier. And we had 9 more home births. So the home births were really exciting. Actually, Mariah arrived before the midwife did. So it was a dark, stormy August night, and then here comes Mariah, and I'm like, I can't help you, honey. But Kim, like, miraculously gives birth, just this quick fish her out of the water and puts her on her chest, and everything's fine. The crazy thing about Lydia was, it was a similar thing with Ethan, where no progression, no progression, no progression. So the midwife, in her wisdom, goes, change of scenery. Let's go to the birth cottage. We're driving up the driveway and hitting all the bumps just right. I'm in the back. 2 miles down the road, Lydia pops out. It happened so quickly. Kim is on my thigh, and she's got pain. So she bites me through my jeans and leaves these huge teeth marks. I was bruised for days. That time I suffered pain with her because she shared. So guess what? It was redo on birthing on the road with Joshua. Out of the 10, 2 have been en route.
Did you move your leg this time?
I was driving. And she was in the back seat because I knew, hey, honey, let's set it up this way. And you just rest in the back seat. I should maybe start a birthing class for guys, right? I'm a veteran. As far as raising children, even before we were married, we were on that track that, yeah, we're gonna homeschool. So we live on a somewhat secluded farm, you know, kind of at home with a rural lifestyle. I mean, we've given them lots of woods, some open space, and all the benefits that come with that. Want this one?
Yeah. Watch out.
There's so many variables in life, especially with children, and, you know, they're wired each in their unique way. My approach is guide them, help them, and see what happens. It's a work of art, Isaac.
Yeah. Tell us what you do for a living.
I do travel demand forecasting. It's a lot of numbers. It's traffic-oriented, right? So we have a client. We produce traffic and revenue forecasts for them, amongst other consulting things. I love my job. Great crew that I work with, great team. And it has provided a stable environment. I'm kind of gearing Kim on the side to manage real estate because there's a lot of potential there. But there are times I do think, like, if I wasn't doing this, what would I want to do? If I could earn a living being my own boss, I could probably like that if it brought in, you know, a sufficient amount to live on. I would like to be like an entrepreneur or kind of a captain of my own financial course.
I'm going to ask you a direct question. Are you really the head of the household, or is Kim kind of the head of the household?
You know, it's not about like a chain of command so much as relational.
Dad's home. Dad's home.
It's my job to go, well, what's best for us? And then to discuss it with her, and, you know, so it's a two-way street, right? It's a two-way street, because parenting is a process with all the children. There is a bit of concern about what path are they gonna wanna go down? What decisions are they gonna wanna make that Kim and I may be like, are you sure you wanna do that?
I was just asking Mom if I could go to California.
We look to each other to deal with it.
Some of your kids getting older, is there more tension over things like that?
Yeah. Now that our oldest, Ethan's married, there are certain things that just have, in an overnight sense, changed the dynamics of the family.
You know, I married your son and I'm in your family now and I'm different and that has to be okay.
I'm not just going to take your view or Mom's view because you're my family when she feels some other way, because that would tear me and Olivia apart.
I have Ethan that's been transformed to somebody who's bitter and unforgiving toward me.
Ethan and Olivia are here.
And now Micah and Mariah want to go out and explore beyond, you know, what we provide for a home environment.
I'm going to meet a modeling agent, see what that's like.
I'm leaving for Minnesota.
For how long?
I don't know.
It does weigh heavy on my heart, but it just emphasizes the unseen bitterness. Right now, I just don't know how to resolve it. Love has got to conquer this. Somehow, some way, love has got to prevail.